Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be going over essential equipment for harvest season, and at the end of the video I'm going to be answering some very common harvest questions that I've been receiving in emails, so you're not going to want to miss the end of this video. Watch it all the way through. But first, if you guys are new here to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. A lot of our content is now age restricted, so you're going to need to subscribe and have a YouTube account to view our entire library of videos. For those of you that have subscribed, you're all set. You will see everything, and I appreciate your support. If you guys are looking to support our farm any further, check out the website link in the description below. Also, before we get started in today's video, I want to give a big shout out to today's video sponsor, Vivosun. Vivosun provides a lot of equipment for harvest season, and we're going to be featuring a lot of their equipment today. So again, thank you to Vivosun. If you guys are looking for a coupon code, save yourself a little money on some of the equipment featured here today, go ahead and check out that website link in the description below with the code YorkRiver12. So first thing we're going to talk about is how to identify that your plant is ready to harvest. And you know, a lot of iPhones nowadays can actually replace the piece of equipment that I'm going to show you today. The iPhone 11, the iPhone 12, and really I used to have an iPhone 7 and it really get up close. But today we're going to be unboxing a Vivosun jeweler's loupe. We've had jeweler's loupes here on the farm in the past, and this is a great way to identify your flower's readiness. So I'm going to take it out. I'm going to show you guys what exactly this is. It comes with a really nice case. And so what you do with this is you take it up to the flower and you just look at the trichomes. Once you look at it, you'll be able to determine whether they're cloudy, they're amber, or they're clear. If they're just clear, they are not ready. If they're cloudy with some amber, they're pretty close. And if you see a lot of amber and a lot of cloudy, they're ready to go. So the jeweler's loupe is a classic, essential way to be able to see where your plant is in its flower stage and how close it is to harvest. One of the other essential things that we're going to need is trimming scissors. Now, trimming scissors come in all shapes and sizes. You have curved ones, you have straight blade ones, you have long blade, short blade. I've used Vivosun trimmers for the last 3 seasons and I love them. And so we just got some new ones here from today's farm sponsor, Vivosun. So again, thank you to them. This is a twin pack of Vivosun trimming scissors. We have 2. These are both straight blade pruners with a lock, so you just lock them up when you're done. These things are extremely essential if you are wet trimming. Now if you are dry trimming, these will be later on down the road, and we'll talk about that in a different video, but today we're really going to focus in on harvesting off these plants. Now, we're going to be going over stuff for wet trimming and dry trimming, so I want you guys to keep that in the back of your mind. This is just essential equipment that you really should have for harvest. Another thing that we have here from Vivosun is trellis netting. Trellis netting saves so much space in your drying area. You really should have some trellis netting so you can hang branches. You will see that in other videos here on our channel, but today we're not going to show it. We really don't have much going on right yet. But if you guys are interested in that, go ahead and check out our last harvest videos from last year and you will see how trellis netting is set up. So now that we've gone over a lot of the Vivosun stuff that Vivosun has sent us, we got a jeweler's loupe to identify, you've got trimming scissors to trim your branches, but let's dive into some other essentials as we go through. So we're going to start from getting it from the field all the way to a close to finished product, but that finished product video will be another time. Right now we're going to focus on getting it out of the field. First thing you're going to really want is a pair of pruners. Now these pruners are for cutting the branches, really getting down, getting your colas, getting your large branches. You're really going to want to cut those so you have them to hang dry. You're not going to be wanting out there with the small pruners cutting individual flowers. That's not what you want to do. So you're definitely going to need a good pair of pruners. This is a Fisker set, great set. I've had that for a couple years now. You clean them, it goes great. And while we're on the topic of cleaning, you really need isopropyl alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol will clean your blades. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll take a pruner, hang them upside down for 5 minutes, clean them, they're all set. When it comes to the bigger guys, you take a piece of paper towel and you're going to wipe it down. But you definitely want to make sure that your equipment is clean at all times. Another essential thing are gloves. Here I have just some regular old nitrile gloves. You gotta have gloves. Your hands will get all sticky, makes things miserable, especially when it's hot or humid when you're harvesting. Definitely need gloves. This is an absolute essential. And you can get these at any pharmacy or anything like that. Any large big box store will have your gloves. Okay, so now that we've kind of gone over getting it out of the field, let's talk about what we're gonna do once we get it into your drying space. So once you've either wet trimmed or you're just gonna go hang directly into your drying space, these are some essential things that you're gonna need. Now we've already talked about it, but I wanna make sure I reiterate this. The trellis netting is a huge space saver when it comes to hanging your branches in your drying space. Again, this is by Vivosun. You can find this on their website. This is great stuff. You really should have trellis netting if you have more than one plant, because it just saves so much space. Another thing that saves space, and for a totally different approach to drying, if you have individual flowers, or you're at the end of the harvest, you've harvested all your big flowers and you're just going to shuck all the other flowers, this is a great thing. This is just a hang dryer. You literally you put it right in here and you shake it around once a day so the buds don't get flat on one side, and they're perfect. Okay, so now you're hang drying all your flowers. This is by far one of the more important things you have to do. You need to label. This is an easy way to label your branches, label your trellis netting, whatever. Make sure you mark the date of when they hit the drying rack. Make sure you mark the strain of which. If you're doing different strains, you want to make sure that you're keeping them separated. This whole roll is like $4 and it's lasted me 3 seasons. Easiest way to mark what is what in your drying area. The next thing that I'm going to show you is air movement. Air movement is huge. You're going to have a fan. You need air movement in your drying area. Now that can be in the form of a dehumidifier, although that can be finicky because if you drop the humidity too much, your dry won't work out very well. I like to do a lot of natural drying here on the farm. It takes a lot longer, but I feel that the cure is way better. So you're going to need some air movement. Right here you can see we have a new air fan. We've had those on the farm now for a few weeks. We love them. It's definitely one way to move a lot of air in your drying area. You'll be seeing a video on this bad boy very soon, but I just want to make sure that you guys know to put some air movement in your drying space. Now, when it comes to everything is dry and you're going through the cure burping phase, you're going to need several different types of equipment. A lot of times with branches, I use contractor bags. I like clear contractor bags because my drying room is dark. I don't have to worry about light penetrating, and when I want to look at the actual flowers themselves, I can just hold it up to the light and take a quick look at them, make sure there's no mold breaking out, make sure that these things are doing what they're supposed to do. Now, when it comes to long-term storage, there's a lot of options. But I use these sealed black and yellow totes. I also use these Terplock bags. They're great bags as well. Anything to really keep the air from moving too much is what you're going to want to use for long-term storage. For very long-term storage, freezer works, mason jar in a freezer works. Depends on how long you're talking when it comes to storage. Now we're going to go over your questions, but first, before we dive into the questions I've been receiving about harvest, if you guys think I've missed something essential, please leave it in the comment section for our community members that are also subscribers to our channel. Hey, maybe I missed something that can make my life a whole lot easier during harvest season. Leave it in the comment section below. Give the video a thumbs up, support the channel. But now we're going to go over some really common questions that I've been getting bombarded with, and I'd really like to answer them here on this video. And the first big question I get is, when do I harvest? Now, we kind of went over that earlier in the video with the jeweler's loop, but really, folks, every strain is going to be different. Your region is going to be different. A whole bunch of things go into play. when the sun started dropping below 14 hours is also going to determine when your plant went into flower, with a whole host of other things. So I really go back to get a jeweler's loupe. That's the best, easiest, simplest way to look at your plants every day. Just go in there, look at them, look for identifiers. So as far as when to harvest, you know, if you really want to count from pre-flower to harvest, 6 to 8 weeks is usually a really good time frame for harvesting. So if your plant goes into flower, usually 6 to 8 weeks later, you should be harvesting. Some strains will go longer, some strains will finish earlier, but for the most part, a lot of them are going to fall in that 6 to 8 week category. Another question that I get a lot is, how long does it take to dry? And that's really something I can't answer on one single question. It really depends on your drying technique. Here on the farm, we use natural air drying. So we use fans, we use the regular old air, we don't dehumidify. So it's gone as quick as 10 days, but it's gone as long as 3 weeks. So it really depends on our weather. And once we get that broken branch, that snap that we're looking for, that's when we throw them into the bags. Now, if you're using a dehumidifier and you know what you're doing, usually the 10-day mark is really where you fall, 10 days to 2 weeks. So that's where you want to be. You don't want to rush, put them in a dehumidifier and just dry them right out in 3 days. That usually just don't cure very well. So I will say 10 days to 3 weeks is an ideal time frame for them to hang dry to cure, and then you can get them into your bags. Another question I get, which I also answered in the video, but I want to make sure that I've gone over all the options, is how do I store this long term? Again, that depends on the amount that you have and your flexibility as far as having freezer space versus having more cabinet space. The essential is cool, dark, dry area and a dark container, whether it's one of those yellow-black totes, whether it's a mason jar. That will usually get you probably a year if it was cured correctly. The freezer is the best for the long-term storage, at least that I've found. So those are 2 ways. And then the most hot button, biggest question I get, and I've saved the best for last here, folks, because I usually get bombarded with this positive and negatively every season, which is, what do I do if I get mold? Now, it depends on where you get mold in this question. So if you're cutting moldy flowers, you should discard them. On the farm here, we discard moldy flowers. Now, if you have a giant cauliflower and 2 little flowers have bud rot on them, you can cut them and you can wash them. Now, I have a video on how to wash. You can check it out on our channel. It's one of our most popular videos. I also get a lot of negative comments on there. So you can use hydrogen peroxide and wash the flower with water and try to eliminate the mold. It doesn't work all the time. A lot of people have completely opposite opinions about that. We don't sell that type of flower here. Our crop is large enough where we just discard the flowers. Now, if you get mold during the drying process, you're pretty much done. And that's really unfortunate. And a lot of people, this is where they lose their crop. That's why I harped on air movement, the trellis netting. All that plays into a fact of keeping the mold away. The trellis netting allows widespread area for those branches. They're not lined up next to each other. They're in a checker pattern, however you want to do it. And then large fans like this new air, like other fans that we've used in the past, you need the most air movement you can possibly get. It should be a wind tornado in your drying area. Now, it shouldn't be direct air on these flowers. It should just be a nice air movement and like a nice gently breezy day. That's what you really want in there. You don't want to be blowing a ton of air on these things. You just want nice air circulation. So that's really the answer on the mold. If you have it in the field, there are remedies. Again, we have a video on that. But if you get it in the drying process, unfortunately, there is no way that I'm aware of saving it in a healthy manner, and you should just discard it and unfortunately get ready to start your next grow. But folks, that is it for today. I know this was a long video, but I appreciate you guys sticking around. I hope this video helps you during your harvest time. If you guys have questions, I'll ask you to leave a comment on the video because the emails have been crazy lately. So leave a comment on the video. Please give it a thumbs up to support the channel. I appreciate it. 21,000 subscribers. We're killing it. So I do appreciate it. You guys want to get in touch with me, Facebook, Instagram, email, all down in the description below. Support the farm. That website is down there as well, along with our today's sponsor, Vivosun. Check out that website link. Check out their harvest stuff. I use a lot of their stuff when it comes to harvest time. So check out their stuff. Use the promo code down there as well. Save yourself some money. But until next time, folks, I hope you have a happy harvest, happy growing, stay healthy, and I will see you in another video.